Crime Daily. I'm Crafting Journey, that Journey Chick on Instagram. Don't forget to hit the like button today on your way in or out of the program. The like button helped me get to an end last night. We are at the very end of the poncho. I'm just working on the edging. Yeah, gotta finish it up, make it look nice. So don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe if you enjoy the content. And if you're already subscribed, thank you so much. Please consider becoming a member of the channel. The money that you donate goes to support the content of the channel. And I am going to buy a new microphone because apparently the volume's still not good with this one. So yeah, we'll be getting a new microphone soon. Yay! One of those ones that kind of like hang so I can just talk and not be down here. So, or I could just go like this. I don't know. But anyway, I know there's a volume issue. So sorry. Still working on Notre Dame nights, although last night I was working on the poncho. I came home from work with the worst headache ever from looking at spreadsheets all day long. Yes. Because I work with spreadsheets in my regular job, and then I have spreadsheets that I have to work on for the Ticket to Ride event. So it's like my head was like ready to burst because your eyes are, I was using two screens, so my eyes were shifting from one screen to the other all day. Yeah. Sounds like fun, right? Yeah, no. So this morning I had this little heat thing that I bought, you know, that massages you. So I was having some coffee doing the massage thing. But I'm so excited because there are trials on all 3 networks of law and crime. So I have a lot of content to bring you today. First, what national day is it? Let's get our planner out. Planner. So I called to reschedule my knee appointment, and she tries to give me an appointment for Thursday, this Thursday. And I'm like, I don't think that's gonna work because we're expecting more snow Wednesday and Thursday, and I am not driving in that mess. Nope. So it's next week. Hopefully this is the last winter blast. It even snowed last night. Like yesterday, the temperatures were in the 70s. It was beautiful. And then all of a sudden last night, whoosh, temperatures dropped, snow. I'm like, what the heck? We're all going to get sick. That's what's going to happen. Yep. So today is national. Actually, it's not even national. It's World Spay Day. This is a day to remind people that if you don't have a program in the community where you live, it's a good time to start one. There are so many feral cats out there that need to be spayed or neutered. They cannot be domesticated. So where these programs exist, they pick up the cats and they have them spayed or neutered, and then they put them back out where they are, and it decreases the population of these feral cats. I know where I lived in Port Charlotte, Florida for several years, and Port Charlotte many years ago had a very bad hurricane. Hurricane Charlie came through that community and devastated it. And there were as a result, a lot of feral cats. So they did have this program where they would pick them up and they would spay and neuter them and then release them. So today is World Spay and Neuter Day. So if there's not a program where you live, start one. Yeah. Or, advocate that one be started, because it's really good to control that population. Yep. Okay. So Spay and Neuter Day. Spay. We're going to talk about English bank heist in this day in history. Bank heist. The Securitas Bank in England. Yes. Bank heist. Okay. And so my doctor's appointment is for Wednesday, March. Oh my God, we're almost into March. March. Oh my gosh. March 2nd. Oh my gosh, I have a lot of stuff going on that day. I didn't realize it. I have an ultrasound in the morning, a mammogram, and then at 11, I have my knee appointment. Holy moly. Hopefully all that runs on time. Guess I'm taking that day off. Let's talk about crafting and crime daily. Woohoo! So as we speak, the jury is being charged in the Robert Hayes case. And what that means is that the judge is reading the instructions, the jury instructions to the jury. And it's taken him a while because there's 3 cases that in one, there's 3 murders, 3 separate murders. So there will be 3 separate verdict forms for this case. I'm going to do a little crocheting today while, because I want to finish this. Because if this is the last, cold week, I want to be able to wear this gosh darn thing. So here, let me show you. Oh goodness, I don't want to get it all tangled up here, because then the cats will be in here. So this is the poncho. Yes, beautiful colors. This is Karen cake. The color is rhubarb. Rhubarb, yes. Okay. Reminds me of sherbet, like orange sherbet, but not rhubarb. Anyway, I'm just going around the edge and doing like a half double crochet, and then I'm going to go around the edge again and just do a single crochet. Why? Well, because I can. So I think it'll just make it look pretty. Anyway, and I didn't think I had enough yarn to do another 3-row repeat, so I'm doing the edging. Anyway, so Robert Hayes, the jury's being charged, and then they will go out and start deliberating. Now, I don't think it's going to be a very long deliberations. Closing arguments were yesterday. The prosecution argued that Robert Hayes purchased a Smith & Wesson 40 caliber weapon just a few weeks before the murders started. Yeah, and prior to this, there had been no murders. Now he purchases a gun, and there are murders. Okay, well, that doesn't prove anything. So, as you'll recall, or maybe I didn't talk about it, the gun owner testified, the gun store owner testified that this was a very popular brand of gun because it's, it's not expensive. And the bullets that went with it, the 40 caliber bullets that Robert Hayes purchased, are very, very common purchase, so what does this prove? I don't know. And then the prosecution argued that, of course, there's the DNA that was acquired in the West Palm Beach case that matched all 3 DNAs from Robert Hayes. It matched. I'm crocheting. This is what happens when my mind is split in 2. Okay, so it matched the DNA from the 3 murders in Daytona Beach. This was, and we know also that in proximity to these murders, the defendant was living in Daytona Beach at the time of the 3 murders, attending Bethune-Cookman College, and then during the time of the murder in West Palm, he had moved to West Palm. This is many years later. He was living in West Palm Beach. Is this all a coincidence? I don't know. What do you think? So then we get the old guy. Oh, he needs to retire, really. Go play tennis or something, honey, Anyway, he gets up there and he does, well, first of all, and I'm so glad somebody said, can we put a microphone on him, please? And it might have been one of the cameramen who said it. So they put a microphone on the old guy. And he gets up and he does a pretty decent defense closing argument. He argued each case separately. He implored the jury to do the same thing. Look at each case on its own merits. And he said, listen, we've never denied that my client frequents prostitutes. We're not denying that. And that he may have frequented these prostitutes, and that's why you're having the DNA. And no one knows how long DNA will last inside a body cavity. No one can say what the time of death was on some of these murders. it was between this day and this day. That's all they know, because, you know, they found the person, the last time they were seen might have been 3 days before. They don't know how long these people were dead. The first woman was found in a, not really, they're calling it an alleyway, but it was just a very narrow opening. And he argued, you know, look at my client's physique. Do you think he would fit in this opening? She was found face down, the opposite direction, shot in the back of the head. Do you think my client would have fit in here? I thought that was pretty clever. And then the second murder, she was in a vehicle. They know she was in a vehicle. They traced the vehicle to this particular place. They never traced the vehicle back to Robert Hayes, which I thought was interesting. Also, the woman in the second murder had this oily substance on her feet, and they never tested it and matched it to the place where the vehicle was found, and investigated any of those people where the vehicle was found. His strongest argument was, you know, yes, my client owned this weapon. Yes, a .40 caliber bullet was used in all 4 of the murders, only 3 that he's on trial for, but they couldn't match the bullets to Robert Hayes's gun, because some of them were corroded. Now he argued on the first murder, if you buy a gun and bullets in the beginning of December, you commit a murder 3 weeks later, how in the world would the bullet already be corroded? I liked that argument. Now, I hope the jury was listening. You know, in conclusion, he says, you know, there's no proof beyond a reasonable doubt that my client killed these women. Yes, he may have frequented them as prostitutes. Yes, he lived in the area, but where is the evidence beyond a reasonable doubt that he premeditated murders of these 3 women? Okay, so that was interesting. So the jury's going to be contemplating that, and I don't know for how long, but there's 3 separate verdict forms. So we will get the verdict on that today, probably. I don't think it's going to take too long. And then we have the case of the movie theater popcorn case. This is the case of Curtis Reeves. He's 78, 79 years old. He was 71 at the time that the murder was committed. He's in the movie theater. He goes to see Lone Survivor. He gets into an argument with the guy sitting in front of him about him texting. The guy flicks some popcorn at him, and he pulls out his weapon and shoots him. So yesterday, we get to hear the testimony of his wife. I've been waiting for this. So she gets up there, and basically, she didn't see anything. She saw nothing. She says, I might have had my eyes closed. She says that, you know, he went to tell them, you know, she couldn't hear everything clearly that was being said, but she knew her husband leaned over, and she heard something about texting or something about the phone, and next thing she knows, he's going to get the manager. He comes back, and he's got to pass her to get back to his seat. So he passes her, he gets in his seat, and she sees him lean forward, and they have this exchange again. Next thing she knows, popcorn's flying. At this point, she sees nothing else. She saw him kind of standing up. She said she was never been so afraid in her whole life, and maybe her eyes were closed, but she doesn't remember seeing him being punched or hit with a cell phone. No aggression beyond flicking the popcorn at her husband. She saw him lean back in his seat, which he would have had to do to get, because the gun was in his front pocket. So he had to lean back. Now, he says he was leaning back because the guy had come over the seat and was, you know, in his face. So the video is very, very dark. So the next person on the stand, because the wife wasn't on the stand very long, she just didn't have much to say, really. It was the worst day of her life. She, you know, whatever. So they put on a video expert. This guy was fascinating at first when he's talking about his history and some of the cases that he's worked on. He analyzes video, he enhances it, he can blow it up, and, you know, uh, add light to it. He does all these really remarkable things. He worked on the Zapruder film, and he was mentioning, like he was telling stories to the jury. He's like, by the way, in JFK case, there was no video that had sound. The Zapruder film had no sound. There was actually nothing captured on camera that had any sound to it. So we don't know if there was ever a second gunshot because there was no sound on any of the video that captured the death of JFK. And I was fascinated. And he worked on the Durst case, and he talked about the Durst case. I worked on the film when he goes into the bathroom and he's mumbling to himself. I worked to enhance what he was saying. And by the way, he just died. He was convicted and then he just died, which we all knew. So, he worked on all these really fascinating cases, and he's going through all these cases, and I'm like, can I have dinner with you? Because I just want to talk about all these cases. So cool. I mean, he's not telling anybody anything that isn't public record. He's not allowed to. But so fascinating. Cases with presidents, the Nixon tapes, the White House tapes. He was paid to make copies of those tapes because they destroyed the originals, because the original tapes don't exist. Copies exist that I made. I'm like, oh, you go. So what he was hired to do in this case, which, by the way, I don't want to say hired. This defendant has spent a lot of money, because I guarantee you this defense lawyer did not come cheap. No. And now he's got this famous video guy enhancing the movie theater film. So he shows it at regular speed and regular magnification. You can't see anything. The only thing I can make out, and granted, the cameraman for Long Crime, he doesn't have a face onto the television screen. The camera's kind of at an angle, so there's a lot of shadows from the courtroom on the TV, so it's hard to see to begin with because of just the way it's being filmed. But the only thing I can make out is the defendant coming back to his seat after going to the manager, going by his wife, and that's really all I can make out. And then at one point you see all these spots in the film, like these lights. It's really weird. And then the film cuts off. So what this video guy did was enhance it. First he runs it at a slower speed, and then he shows it to the jury. So I couldn't make out anything at a slower speed. Then he runs it at 200% magnification. Still can't make out anything. Then he was asked by the defense attorney to concentrate on one area of the theater, which would be where the defendant and his wife were sitting. So what he does is he takes that part of the film and he centers it, and he makes that the center of the video. So he centers it. And then he magnifies it to 400% magnification. I still don't know what I'm looking at. I still couldn't make it out. And I really believe the jury probably could, or they wouldn't have wasted their money on this man. But I could not, because of the way that it was being filmed by the network. So this morning, this expert is being cross-examined by the prosecution. Following that, I will be interested to see if the defendant is going to take the stand. If he doesn't, I don't know that there are any more witnesses. That may be it. We also saw a witness yesterday, the woman who testified about the aging. So apparently there was a big issue of whether she was qualified to make opinions regarding specifically the effects of aging on the defendant. So rather than go through a Daubert hearing, which is where it's quite a lengthy hearing where the judge has to decide, is this person qualified to give the opinions that she wants to give? And so what they did was they came up with an agreement, the two attorneys, that she would be able to testify about the effects of aging in general, that she would not specifically say anything that occurred during her interview with the defendant or any opinions that the aging process were affecting the defendant. So she just basically got up there. Her degree, her undergraduate degree, was in zoology, and her studies on aging were on monkeys, not humans. Okay, which is where I think the Dalbert issue was going to go awry. So she testified about the effects of aging, and I don't disbelieve her that when the older you get, we all know that your body starts breaking down mentally, physically. The first thing to go is the eyes. And that as you get older, of course, you're going to feel more vulnerable because you don't have the flexibility and agility that you did as a youth. Pearl, what are you doing back there, sweetheart? Go on, jump. Okay. She's going in her little basket. So, but she wasn't allowed to say if the defendant would. Oh, now Stitch wants up there. Oh my God, it's cat morning. Just give me a massage, Stitch. Yeah, right there on the shoulders. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Hi, Stitch. Okay. There's going to be a fight over the basket. No, he got down. Okay. He has another place that he goes to. Hi, buddy. Good morning. Hi. He's like, what kind of trouble can I get into? I don't know where he went. Oh. Meow. Yeah, he's over there. So as I was saying, yes, we are aging, we are vulnerable as elderly adults. And then the jury can draw their own conclusions based on that testimony. So we will see today if the defense is going to rest their case. And it will get to a jury, or, we'll get closing arguments. So that'll probably take up most of the day, and then it would probably go to a jury, I'm going to say tomorrow. And then today, as we speak, their opening statements are being held. In the case of Dr. William Husel, opening arguments. I'm so excited to see this. This is the physician who is charged with 14 counts of murder, and he is being represented by Jose Baez. That's the defense attorney that got Casey Anthony a not guilty verdict for killing her 4-year-old, when we all know that she killed her 4-year-old. Anyway, I didn't say that out loud, right? So, opening statements today. This is going to be a very interesting case. The doctor is accused of overdosing these patients with fentanyl. He claims in his defense that these patients were all at the end of their life, and he was providing them comfort care. He thought he worked for hospice. Yep. Anyway, that is what is happening in corrupting and crime. In 2006, there is a bank robbery that starts off as a kidnapping. This was very, very well planned. Lots of people were involved in this heist. So what happens is, in the early morning hours of February 21st, going into February 22nd, Colin Dixon, the security depot manager, the Securitas depot manager, he's driving and he's pulled over by what he believes are 2 police officers. So he's cooperating with them. They ask him to get out of his vehicle. He steps out of the vehicle, and they ask him to get in their vehicle. He gets in their vehicle. He doesn't know what he's done, but he gets in their vehicle. They handcuff him. Meanwhile, at his home, his wife and son are being kidnapped as well. 2 people dressed as police officers knock on the door of his home. His wife answers. They say, "Oh, your husband's been in an accident. We need you and your son to come with us." So they go. So the three of them are taken to this location where they're held until the early morning hours of February 22nd, just a few hours. Then they are taken to the Securitas Bank, where 14 people inside the depot are placed into cages along with the family. So 14, 50, 17 people, 18 people, no, 17, I can't do math. 17 people are placed in these cages, and the men proceed to steal 53 million pounds. They left behind over 100 million pounds because they didn't have enough room for the money in their vehicle. So 53 million pounds. And they get away with it for a few weeks, but then the tips start coming in because there was a reward of 2 million pounds offered for information leading to the arrest. Well, they arrested over 30 people. 30 people. So 5 or 6 people actually went on trial for this and are serving life sentences, which means a minimum of 15 years. The guy that was, there was an inside guy, a guy that worked in the bank who wore a hidden camera in his belt and would film all day long. So they had the entire layout of this depot. And a lot of the bills that were stolen were used, so they weren't traceable. And to this day, there is still an outstanding, they still have not found over $30 million of that, over 30 million pounds of that money. And they believe that the head guy, who they never caught, is somewhere in another country enjoying his loot. But they also believe that it's all been absorbed into organized crime. This was a big organized crime that was committed. There was a very, very intense police investigation that lasted several months. It required them to go to Monaco and all these different places. They had a budget of $6 million to investigate and try this case. $6 million. What? Well, or pounds, you know, converted. So that's a lot of money, guys. So I gotta work today. Gotta go to work. Well, I'm not working. I'm working from home. Tuesday's my day to work from home. Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And then I figure by Thursday there'll be enough snow that I can say, hey, I don't want to drive to work. So I think it's a work week where I am at home. I will not be crafting. I will be back to the spreadsheets. Yep. Back to the spreadsheets. Because I got to tally up all those tickets you guys earned on Ticket to Ride. Man, you guys earned some tickets. Lots and lots of tickets. Then I got to put all the tickets on a wheel. One wheel for each sponsor. And then we're going to spin the wheel. And someone is going to win some fabulous prizes from each sponsor. Oh my God. Including Diamond Art Club. Yes. They have thrown in something as well. Yep. Gift cards. One for you, one for you, one for you. Yep. All right, guys. Have a great Tuesday. I love you all, and I'll see you tomorrow in Crafting and Crime Daily.